Before we get into the meat, bones, and all kinds of things in this video, I think it's important that I make it clear that this is meant for nothing but positivity. I have no interest of cussing anyone out, debating anyone, being rude, mean, and overall just an ass about things. I think you can talk about another person that you don't agree with, and it can still be positive, because at the end of the day, it's still a human being. Obviously, there are a bit of exceptions of people who deserve to be given the bollocking. For this content creator, I don't think that's the case. Now, you guys have seen the title, it's about Young Don. And I want to make it very clear, I like Young Don as a person. I've been following him for a while. I can't think about how long it's been, but it's been a while where I've been watching his content and following him with his transformations in his life. You know, I've been there through his animation days, then his new YouTube channel, The Young Don Reborn, and then now I'm here with the YDR. You know, all kinds of phases I've seen him go in and out of, and it's been an interesting journey to say the least. Overall, the thing I can respect about Young Don is that he's transparent. He's not trying to be somebody he's not. He's just simply a man looking for answers. And one thing I like about him is that even though I may not agree with any of his takes or how he moves about certain things or the way he acts sometimes, the fact is he's a genuine guy, you know, and he's just a guy seeking answers. Can't fault a guy for that, you know? So, yeah, I respect him for the fact that he's always seeking answers the best way possible. He's a very curious guy, you know, and I think everyone should be. However, a lot of you may have seen his recent controversy. Well, I don't know how recent you'd call it. For me, it feels like it happened just yesterday, but it's actually been a few months that it's happened. Young Don became Christian and, you know, he gave up everything. His YouTube channel, all kinds of things like that. And overall, YouTube didn't like it for many reasons. He approached it the wrong way and he moved the wrong way about certain things, you know? And now he's at a point in his life now where he doesn't believe anymore. I watched his 5-hour stream because I really needed to understand where he's coming from. And a lot of the things that he explained in that 5-hour stream is things that I expected, to be honest with you. Things that I could already see through various videos and other people commenting on him and things of that nature. There's no surprise about the information that he put. But I thought that after watching his video, I feel like Young Don becoming Christian, although he made mistakes, I feel like there was a lot of misinformation, a lot of nonsense, and a lot of stupidity being fed to him. And that's never a good thing because it can lead you down the wrong path. So this video, you know, it's more serious than the rest, but it's kind of more so for him. I don't know if you'll ever watch this video, but, you know, I had to take this one very, very seriously. It's probably going to be one of my longest videos yet, because I wrote down a few things to address things that he said in his video. And we'll just see what happens from there, you know? But stay to the very end. Let's see how this goes, you know? Yeah, let's start. When it comes to Young Don leaving Christianity, I divide them into 5 key themes because it's what he made clear in his stream the other day. Those 5 key themes are bad community, God not answering prayer, suffering, slavery, and faith. There's a lot to unpack in each subtitle/theme, so we'll address it one by one. So without further ado, let's go to the first one. I want to start off with Young Don becoming a Christian. You know, it was very public, it was very, you know, spoken about because he's a big content creator, you know, 2 million subscribers. That's not a light thing. That's a big deal. You feel what I'm saying? So naturally, the spotlight would be on him since day one. And actually speaking, Young Don never had the time or space to grow in his Christianity in a comfortable way that was accommodating to his stage in life. And what I mean by that is that he didn't have a comfortable place to age well. You feel me? Automatically, off rip, all eyes were on him. And this person had this to say, and that person had this to say, and X, Y, and Z. And all of a sudden, Young Don was now pushed in this position where he had to get everything correct. He had to get everything spot on. And if he didn't get it correct or spot on, what I would see on YouTube, whether it's a video, whatever it is like that, are people saying that Young Don is preaching heresy, or he's demonic, or this, that, and the third, all kinds of horrible stuff. And the way I would always view Young Don's incorrect information was coming from a place of like, he knows no better because he's new. How can you crucify someone that's new when they don't know? Clearly, he's looking for that information. Now, I'm not going to fully put the blame on the Christian community because he did some stuff to contribute to that as well. But I found it very disgusting and disheartening how the Christian community on the internet treated Young Don. I didn't see not one video about love. Maybe there is one out there, but I can assure you from what I saw, it was more negativity and more bad vibes. I thought it was disgusting and very ungodly how people were laughing at him, mocking at him, treating him like he was lower than dirt, and he's meant to be your brother in Christ. For me, that makes no sense. And I think that a lot of Christians online, and I say online for a reason, need to do better. And obviously, it's not online Christians that need to do better. Christians that aren't online also need to do better, because I've also met wicked people that claim that they're a Christian. It happens. There's bad apples everywhere, you feel me? But I do believe that a lot of Christians on the internet, a lot of Christians, period, have this mentality that they are better than everyone, you know? And because they have God's ways and know God's ways, that automatically means that they can just poo on everyone else. And the reality is, if you do that, you're not as godly as you think you are, because God doesn't want you to do that. Now, back to Young Don, when I said that he had a part to play in it as well. Young Don, you see, it's hard to say, because I could easily sit here and say that he was a bit arrogant in some cases, like he wasn't willing to listen fully. But at the same time, when people are attacking you, of course you're going to get defensive. Of course you're going to stand on what you think is the right way, because people are cussing you out. Now, again, you know, if Young Don gave off the energy that, you know, he was willing to listen more and things of that nature, I doubt anything would have changed, because, you know, people are just horrible on the internet. But for the most part, I feel like there were parts where he did show that he wanted to listen. However, for the fact that he changed his mind many times, it does show that he did actually listen. You know, one could easily make the argument that he didn't listen, but I'd say that he did. Although he gave off the energy that he wasn't listening, which frustrated people, you know, at the end of the day, when we look back to the course of a career, the amount of theologies that he went through, like free grace and all things of that nature, he did listen. That's why he changed his mind, you know. But the fact is, when someone has all these theologies in their face, and then they think they're going in the right direction, then other people are cussing them out. They go the other direction, and more people are cussing them out. It's like, where do you go from there? Like, how are you meant to operate and how are you meant to move? There's just a lot of confusion and everything like that as well. Speaking of which, let's talk about his bad counsel in front of him. I saw it maybe at the beginning of the stream where he said that, you know, he was constantly questioning if he was going the right direction in terms of, you know, preaching about the gospel on YouTube and talking, you know, about sharing the gospel and things of that nature and how he should move. And from what I heard on his stream, from his mouth, he was being told that what he is doing is the right thing to do. And I find that disgusting, considering the fact that the Bible clearly says, if you're new to the faith, don't preach. Don't share the gospel, because it's not because God doesn't want you to be a preacher, whatever it is. It's just there's a mega maturing process before you go and lead a group of people, because there's higher consequences. Even the Bible says as well, as you're a leader, you get higher consequences than your followers, because you're the leader. You feel what I'm saying? I find it disheartening that people were advising Young Don to just go on this full, go and preach on YouTube kind of way. You feel what I'm saying? Because that was just not the right call. I don't know who advised him to do that, and I don't know why they advised him to do that. You feel me? But what should have happened if I was a pastor and Young Don came to me saying like, oh, I'm just turned Christian, what do I do on my YouTube channel, X, Y, Z? All I would tell Young Don to do is be a good person. Because you don't bring people to Christianity by acting like you're holier than thou. You don't bring people to Christianity by moving like your poo doesn't stink. You bring people to Christianity through your good character. When people see that you are genuinely a good person, an understanding person, a respectful person, a loving person of all people, naturally they're like, dang, this guy, Christ is really with him. Maybe I should start considering it as well. But the route that he was advised to do was go and preach, and he said that he constantly asked, like, is he going in the right direction? And people were pushing like, yeah, you're going in the right direction. Who advised him that? Because the Bible says don't do that, but yet people are advising him to do that. So I think that's very stupid that he was advised that, which set him up for failure. Young Don feels that God set him up for failure. But I think the people around him set him up for failure. You feel me? Yes, God can see the future. God can do all kinds of things at X, Y, and Z. You feel what I'm saying? And I will address this God can see the future point, because he mentions it many times. But his constant question is, why didn't God stop him if he knew that it was the wrong thing to do? Which I'll explain in a bit. But overall, he had a bad community. No one was really supporting him. Bad counsel, all kinds of stuff. It was diabolical how the things that were being said about Young Don. You feel what I'm saying? But additionally to that, he didn't handle it the best either. But he's learned from that. So, you live and you learn. That's just life. We have to understand, of course, it's going to hurt when you trust in people to lead you the right direction. They teach you to go the wrong way. You're going to be resentful. Imagine putting your trust in someone that claims that they know the best way for you to move and the best way for you to operate. And then they lead you down that path and it's just not the right path. It brings more damage than good. Of course, you're gonna feel like you can't trust them again. You're gonna be hurt. Speaking of bad community as well, it's just diabolical that on that same stream, there was a lady who commented on his chat saying that he was never a believer in the first place. I thought that was stupid as well, because there is more benefit. Would have been more benefit in him continuing with his big YouTube channel and stuff like that. You feel what I'm saying? But he literally abandoned everything to follow Christ. Everything. So for whoever said that and whoever's thinking that to come and now say that you were never a believer in the first place, X, Y, and Z, is just you're a disgusting person. Because how insensitive and how stupid you have to be to say that. And I'm saying stupid because it is stupid. You don't know. Yes, there's people that fake that, but it's like there are people who literally give their whole life to this. And all of a sudden they've been through some stuff and they go like, I can't do it no more. And you say you never believed in the first place? You're an asshole. I'm sorry to cuss, but you're an asshole. Don't do that. You feel me? Let's try to be more understanding of people rather than pointing fingers and casting out judgments that we're not even meant to cast out. Next sub-theme is God not answering his prayer. I saw a section on the stream where Young Don made a point that he prayed for wisdom. And he feels like God didn't answer his prayer like God answered every other one's prayer in the Bible, For example, King Solomon, he asked God for wisdom and God said, here, take the wisdom and X, Y, and Z, you feel me? Now, there's two ways we can go with this, but I think I'm going to go around the path that I can clearly see is going on right now. And he can disagree if he wants. This prayer of Young Don wanting wisdom, he's still on that path. Because we could say that Young Don made so many mistakes in X, Y, and Z. But in actuality, the way that you learn and the way that you become better is through your mistakes. What I noticed in my life is that when I asked God for wisdom, I started messing up a lot more. And when I was messing up a lot more, I felt like God was saying, yeah, I ain't giving you that. Why do you need that? You feel me? But through all those mistakes and through all those bad characters and those stupid things that I did, it made me wiser. It made me more knowledgeable, and it made me more better equipped to help people. The point I'm trying to make is that when Young Don started this journey, he was very arrogant. He was debating people he didn't need to debate. He was saying things he didn't need to say. He was rude, he was cocky, and things of that nature. But we see Young Don now, he's very respectful. And one thing I can respect him for is the fact that even though he doesn't believe in Christianity anymore, even though he doesn't believe in God, even though he's not with any of that, he's not cussing out anybody. He's keeping it as respectful as possible. Do you know how hard it is to do that? Especially when you gave your life to a religion that you don't believe in anymore due to personal reasons. To be that respectful and that calm and that nice about things, that's wisdom in himself. You see, Young Don seems to not realize that he's still in that process. The road to getting wisdom is going to be having a lot of mistakes, you feel what I'm saying? But through those mistakes, you learn more than you had ever known before. You know, now we also see him, he says that he reads a lot more. He doesn't just rely on his own opinion. He relies on the opinion of others as well. You know, he reads, he really does his research, you know? And that wisdom is a gift from God in the sense that, okay, because of how he's approaching education and being well informed, you know, he's just the vibe that he gives off now is just much better. I honestly think that he's still on that path, but he may disagree. You feel me? But I'll just simply say it like this. There's a reason that people like you a lot more now. There's a reason that people vibe with you now. There's a reason people still mess with you even more now, because you're just a better person now. You feel me? There's a way that you act now that doesn't give off the old Don anymore. You should be very proud of yourself that despite all the mistakes that you made, like you said yourself, you said you're a lucky guy. Look how you made a bounce back. I wouldn't say God has really left you and not answered your prayer. Sometimes our prayers take longer than we expect. I can say that from experience, you feel me? After trying to rush God's process and things of that nature, I can confidently say that sometimes when we want the gift, when we want the prayer that we're asking for, it ain't gonna come when we think we're ready for it. It's gonna come when God knows that we are ready for it. So yeah.
In wisdom, you sacrifice the ability of being unaware, and it's an uncomfortable process because now you are more aware and you feel your shortcomings a lot more, you know, and it hurts. And it makes you feel low, and it makes you feel like you're not doing well. It's part of the process. And also, you got to think of it this way. The amount of short time all of this happened, like 3 years, you know, you're only 30, and you've already gone to this level of knowledge and wisdom. So if you keep going like that, God knows what you'll be like by the end of the year and the next year. My point being is that you're doing well now. And if you keep going on this path, you could be wiser than you ever imagined yourself to be. But it all depends how you view everything, innit? Like, I'm not going to force nothing on you.
Young Don's biggest question is, why didn't God stop me? Maybe this is what you asked for. You know, this part of the process. I'm not going to sit here and say that I know for definite, but it's looking like that's the case, you feel me? You know, why didn't God stop you? Because God needs you to see that there's people out here that say that they're hearing from God and the Holy Spirit, but really they're not hearing from nothing, you know? And since you are now a victim of that kind of bad counsel, now you can learn from that and help other people. You know, maybe God wanted to show you that there's no energy, there's no benefit in arguing with people. Maybe God also wanted to show you as well that you need to read and do your research and things of that nature. God maybe also wanted to show you that just because people are from the LGBTQ community or X, Y, and Z or whatever community that's opposite to you, doesn't mean you have to be moving like your poo doesn't stink. Maybe God needs to show you that, you know, you can still be loving to everybody. You ain't got to be close with them because God says don't eat with them. You ain't got to be close with them, you know. But at the same time, you can be kind. You can give basic respect. You can show love. You feel me? You can help people. You can still do all of that. You feel me?
To Young Don and anyone else that's here, we have to understand that there's people in this world that are living a certain type of lifestyle for a reason. Nobody just got to where they're at overnight, whether they be LGBTQ or trans, whatever it is. Something has happened. Regardless of what's happened, we have to understand we don't know what's happened. You know, we can't read everyone's mind or see everyone's story. It's all the more reason why we should give people human respect, love, kindness, because they are human at the end of the day. God's creation. There's no benefits to treat them any less than that. But yeah, Don, to me, you're at an advantage point, you know. You understand the reasons why people leave the faith. You understand free grace and all types of things of that nature. If you turned into a Christian again, there's so much wisdom you can help people with, you know. You've made all the errors that other people don't have to make because you could point them in the right direction. But it's up to you, like I said.
And then that leads me on to the suffering theme title. I think this one's very interesting because Young Don said that he quoted, I'm quoting him on this. He said that, damned if you do, damned if you don't. What he essentially meant is that if you are an unbeliever and bad things happen to you, Christians or whoever it is will say that was because you said this about God, it's because you don't believe in God. That's why you're suffering the way you're suffering, X, Y, and Z. Then he also said, but if I am a Christian and I'm suffering, they're always going to come back with, well, God's just testing you and whatever it is, you know? And yeah, he's right in the sense that people say that, but if they say that, then they don't have a understanding of who God is. I think one thing that has really destroyed God's identity is Western Christianity, because it's always promoted as, if you believe in God, unicorns are going to come from the sky and pigs are going to start flying and all kinds of funny stuff and rainbows are going to be shining every day and yay, it's going to be so happy. No. It says in the Bible, and I'm not going to put on the video, I'll quote some of them, but the scriptures, Hebrews 12, chapter 12, verse 7, and there's John 6, chapter 16, verse 31 to 33. The whole essence of those chapters, those scriptures, and those verses is saying that God never promised you an easy life. There is no special ticket that, or favoritism ticket, now that you believe in God, that, you know, now he's going to make things super easy for you. Otherwise, everyone would have been turned Christian ages ago. You know, if everyone knew that, oh, if I'm a Christian, you know, and then my life would be easy, a lot of people would have done it by now. And that's our reason to want to follow God, you feel me? So yes, your life is still the same, but there's a difference. The difference is that you know that you will be fine. You know that you will be okay. And regardless of the case may be, even if your life isn't good, you know that your life is guaranteed to be blessed in heaven when you pass. You see, the thing is, suffering is guaranteed to be with you, even as a Christian. It's literally in the Bible. God says it in the Bible. You are going to experience suffering. Suffering that's going to be so, like, pretty bad, but I'm here. And for anyone who's there, you know, a lot of you may say, like, oh, God hasn't been there for me, but a lot of you have suffered and have lived after it. God was there, but you guys will say you're lucky. If I'm corrected, I don't think anyone can be lucky that many times. But, you know, but I feel like people lied to him about the whole suffering ideology because it's just not true. You feel me? Additionally to that, another thing that happened to him as well is that he was advised, I think he was advised, I could be wrong, maybe he just decided to do this himself, but, you know, his YouTube channel that was set up to have $1 million, you know, dollars and stuff like that, and the car that he drove and things of that nature, you know, he gave up all these things, you know, and he didn't need to do it of that. How I would have done the YouTube channel, if I was to do the YouTube channel, is just be kind, stop the swearing, be nice to people, carry on doing his business. You ain't gotta change and remove all of that, you feel me? And sure enough as well, you don't have to get rid of your nice cars. God wants you to enjoy things in life. He just asks you to not make that define your worth or allow it to make you turn into a wicked person. That's the only thing God asks you to do. Not once did God say, don't have these nice things or have money or do all these kind of things of that nature. He just asks you to make sure that it aligns with him. And the way I see it is that, you know, not the way I see it, just in the Bible. If you move in a godly way, you're not doing anything sinful, you're fine. But a lot of people try to go the dramatic route, and I feel like when Christians advise you to be in poverty or to be in all kinds of suffering, or have self-inflicted suffering. And that just shows that they don't know what it means to be a Christian. Because just because suffering is guaranteed in life doesn't mean that you should create the suffering for yourself. You know, for in Young Don's case, you know, creating the suffering for himself in the sense that he stopped making that much money as he used to make to provide for his family, especially because his wife is a stay-at-home mom as well, you know, made things harder for him. Or in the sense that, you know, get rid of something that he earned, a nice car for himself, you know, you ain't gotta do all of that. You can keep all of that, so long as you didn't use it to define you. Yes, it's nice that you showed that it doesn't define you, but at the same time, you didn't have to do that. That's the whole point. So this thing where Christians say like self-inflicted suffering, that's just, you're just a sadist at that point. You know, the devil doesn't even have to work on you because you're doing it for him. You don't need to suffer as a Christian. But when suffering comes, suffering that you didn't plan for it to come, just know that God's by your side. Slavery category. This is an interesting one because Young Don mentioned in his stream that one reason he is not Christian anymore is because God promotes or supports slavery. And that's not true. God doesn't support slavery, you know what I'm saying? Now, we have to understand what the term slavery means. Don quoted Timothy, you know, and in Timothy it says that, oh, slaves should respect their masters and not move in any type of evil way because that could bastardize the name of God and things of that nature, right? And that's in the New Testament. Now, God Don's argument is that, oh yeah, you know, God's for slavery and this, that, and the X, Y, and Z. When we talk about slavery, we have to understand that all of us are a slave. What I mean by that, we all work for somebody. I have a job. I have a boss. There's a certain way I have to move. There's a certain way I have to act. You feel what I'm saying? He gives me my pay, and my pay is what helps me finance my life. You feel me? That's just what it is. You feel me? Like, and, you know, he's not mistreating me. He's not doing anything bad, X, Y, and Z. It's ethical work. You see, when we use the term slavery, automatically it's seen as a negative thing. You feel me? But really and truly, slavery at the time and slavery as of now, you know, it's so long as the slavery isn't evil stuff, then it's fine. And what I mean by that is because I know how it sounds, but I know what I'm trying to say. And you guys know what I'm trying to say. We all have to work for a boss, for a master, for someone that's in higher authority. You feel me? God just simply asks us to make sure that we respect them, respect the laws of the land and things of that nature. In addition to that, you know, he used this argument to say that this is what made people be slave owners in the, you know, with the black people era and stuff like that, having black people as slaves. And the thing is with that, man, is that, like, you know, it's not God's fault that people used the Bible and manipulated his word. You know, God never wanted anyone to suffer from slavery or be in slavery capital, like all kinds of mistreat, because we have to understand that with black people in slavery, they went through some monstrous stuff. You know, we would have men, their wives would get raped and all kinds of stuff. There were so many disgusting things that happened during slavery. And a lot of people say, like, oh, well, the Bible justifies that. God doesn't justify that. Here's the evidence. When Pharaoh had the Israelites in Egypt, you know, he was mistreating them and X, Y, and Z. And God said he wants his people to be let go. Let our people go and set them free, you feel me? There's been many kings in the Bible overall, like King David and King Solomon. They had servants, they had slaves. And I think it's like, even if you read it in the old version of the Bible, it says servants. But obviously it can be translated to slaves or whatever it is. They just use slaves to make it easy. You feel what I'm saying? Like, those kind of kings did not mistreat their servants. They just didn't, you feel me? Even in the case with Jacob, when he had the robe, when he was a servant, he didn't get mistreated. He didn't get whipped into and things of that nature. The point is that God is against rulers, kings, and people that mistreat their servants / slaves. And he doesn't accept it at all. We even see this with King Nebuchadnezzar or whatever it is. I don't know how to pronounce his name. God punished him severely for mistreating his people. Because one thing about God, He sees it like this. If you are in charge of people, if you own people in the business context, you must treat them well. You must be a good example. You must be a loving person, things of that nature. That's what God commands us to do. And if you're anything that's opposite to that, God will punish you for it. Because he's not going to sit by and allow people to be mistreated in a place where they have to work. You feel me? Slaves had to work. Slaves had to do their own thing because they needed the money to finance their lifestyle. They needed to move to a certain type of way. They had to work for somebody. Thing is though, what we see in the olden days with black people is that people bent it to their own will to justify their sick actions. And that's not what God wanted, because we see many times in the Bible where he is criticized and he's been furious at many different evil leaders for mistreating their servants because he's just not done. So no, God's not for slavery. He's for work. And he's for working for your boss and being respectful and being godly in it. In addition to that, if you read closely in that Timothy verse 12, he also calls it for a case to be like, if you have a boss, you know, whether they're godly or not, make sure that your actions are showing godliness. That's what God calls us to do. So he ain't for slavery. I understand that, you know, he's been worded a certain type of way, but no, he's basically telling us like it's with the job now. Because we all have to work for somebody now, you know, you feel me? Yeah, and we all have to work for somebody. So that's what it is. The final one being faith. And I left this one last because this one is important. Because throughout Don's stream, he made so many points. Points about evidence, points about history, points about transcripts and philosophers, a lot, and when I mean a lot of evidence that points towards the idea that God isn't real and the Bible is fake. There is so much evidence against the Bible. I'm not going to sit here and lie about it. I'm not going to sit here and deny it. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and deny it because it's true. You feel me? But if you approach the Bible with logic and science and all things of that nature, you are not going to experience what it's truly about. As we read through the stories in the Bible, as we read through the different characters and them being called to do certain things or commanded to do certain things, these characters are humans just like us. They were like, there's no way I can do that, or there's no way you could do that, God, or nah, Jesus, it's too late, you can't do that. You feel me? I have a list of situations here. You know, the ark, Samson and his strength, David and Goliath, raising people from the dead, walking on water. These are all unbelievable things. But that's the point. There is a very crucial reason why God says we get to heaven by faith and not by our works. Because when you have faith in God, that's all that matters. See, you could do works, you could do good things and, you know, be nice to people and X, Y, and Z, you feel me? But if you don't believe in God, then you're just doing what everyone else does. You feel me? Everyone can be nice, everyone can be kind. You know, there's people who are not Christians who do way kinder than actual Christians, you feel me? It happens. The reason why God is so emphasizing on faith, and we see faith highlighted so many times in the Bible, because that's what it's all about. You feel me? That against all odds, against logic and reasoning and science, do you still believe in God? I remember being younger, you know, and like hear about Noah's Ark, and I was like, how does someone even build that big of an ark? A stable ark? You know? A big ark like that, that's so stable that can hold all these animals and it doesn't sink. That never made sense to me. But as I grew older, my relationship with God, you know, I started to realize that it's not for me to understand. It's simply for me to just believe. A lot of people struggle to just believe because it's bizarre things we're believing in, but that's the whole point. God has asked every person in the Bible to just believe. That's his standard. Just believe. Just believe you can walk on water. Just believe that you can talk to Pharaoh and set all of his workers free. Just believe you can go to that town and command this very sinful city to stop their sinning. Believe this, believe that. So many things that Jesus commands us to believe, that it's hard. It can be hard from a human mindset. It can be hard from a mindset to believe that God is really for us and not against us. But it's important to realize that God isn't saying just believe you can do it alone. He's assuring all of the people ever in history that believe you can do it, or believe it can be done, because I am here with you. Believe in me, and all things will work out for your good. You know? That's just how God works. All things work out when you rely on God's power to work when it needs to work. Not when you want it to work, but when it needs to work. Because it's better to have a God that answers when you need something rather than just giving you what you want. And that's for us to throw it away, to abandon everything we knew, everything that we know, and just walk towards where God wants us to go to. Now, this video isn't here to punk Dawn or, make it to seem to you that, you're just stupid or whatever it is. You've been dealt a bad hand, But I believe that all of this can be turned to good. And I guess this video, if you never watch it or if you do watch it, it's just to let you know that I understand your pain. I understand your frustration. I understand your confusion. And I understand you're just not caring anymore. You feel me? I'm pretty sure I got at least one right. But I understand it. But what I see in you as a content creator is that you are someone who is very passionate about things that you like, things that you believe in. And that's never been a bad thing about you. I guess it's just, you just didn't do it right, But I encourage you to just believe. That's all I encourage you to do, just believe. It's crazy, it's wild, I know. But just believe, because then you look through life and you realize that God has actually been there for you through every step of the way. Times where you didn't even believe in God, He was there for you. I can say that for me. That personal experience, that personal relationship with God, me knowing what He's done for my life, I have no choice but to believe. And I hope that the same case happens for you and anyone who watches this video, that you can look over the course of your life and see that God's always been there. And that can encourage you to keep believing, because if He's been there this time, the times when you didn't believe, He's definitely not going to leave me the times when I do believe. Praying for you, Dawn, praying for anyone watching this. Just have faith, guys. There's evidence against the Bible. Of course there is. But how can you have evidence to prove the impossible? The things that are not logical, the things that don't apply to human science. You can't. But hey, we're all grown people, we all make our own decisions, and we're all gonna do what we want to do. With that being said, let's stand tall and march to God's will together as one. God bless, take care, and I'll see you guys next video.